Greek Olive-Grove Stewards. The morning sun rose gently over the Peloponnesian hills, bathing the slopes in a golden light. From a distance, the land appeared like a patchwork of green and silver, olive groves stretching endlessly, their leaves shimmering in the breeze. In this timeless landscape lived the Stephanos family, generations of stewards who attended to the same grove of olive trees for more than 200 years. For the Stephanos family, olives were not just a crop. They were a way of life, a covenant between land and people. Their ancestors had once been poor farmers, surviving on bread, cheese, and whatever the land would give. Over time, through patience and reverence, they had learned the art of nurturing the ancient trees, coaxing from them the liquid gold the world called olive oil. Roots as old as the trees, the patriarch Yiannis Stephanos was a man of 70 with skin weathered by decades of toil under the Mediterranean sun. His hands were rough, yet gentle when they touched the bark of his olive trees. Yiannis often told his grandchildren, "Each tree has a soul. It listens to you. Speak to it kindly, and it will reward you." His wife, Eleni, kept the household alive with warmth. While Yiannis worked in the groves, she would prepare olives cured in brine, bread baked in a wood oven, and feta from the nearby shepherd. Every meal reminded the family of the deep bond between earth and table. Yiannis and Eleni's children, Nikos and Maria, continued the family legacy. Though times were changing, Nikos was a modern agriculturist, trained in Athens. He spoke of soil analysis, irrigation systems, and global export markets. Maria, an artist at heart, painted landscapes of the groves, turning their beauty into colors that traveled to galleries far from Greece. Yet, despite their modern pursuits, both returned every autumn for the harvest. For them, the olive grove was not only heritage, it was identity. The harvest ritual. Harvest season was sacred. From late October to early December, the family and hired villagers would gather in the fields. Nets were spread under the trees, and men, women, and children climbed ladders or used small rakes to tease the olives from their branches. The air was filled with laughter, songs, and the rhythmic thud of olives falling onto the nets. Yiannis always insisted on beginning the season with a prayer. "May these trees, blessed by the gods and our ancestors, give us fruit to sustain life, health, and peace." The first pressing of the olives was a celebration. They carried baskets to the small stone mill at the edge of the village, where the fruit was washed, crushed, and pressed. The thick green oil that poured out was sharp, fragrant, and alive. Everyone dipped bread into it, tasting the year's labor in silence. To outsiders, it was only olive oil. To the Stephanos family, it was memory distilled. The thread of change. In recent years, storms had become stronger, summers hotter, winters less predictable. Yiannis noticed the difference. Some trees bore fewer olives. Others struggled against pests that had never before reached the region. Meanwhile, large corporations from abroad were buying land, converting groves into industrial farms. A stranger's visit. One spring, a historian from Italy named Dr. Leone visited the village. He had been studying ancient olive cultivation across the Mediterranean. When he heard of the Stephanos grove, he asked to meet Yiannis. Walking among the gnarled trunks, some over 400 years old, Leone was in awe. "These trees," he said, "are living witnesses. They have survived wars, droughts, empires. In them lies the memory of the Mediterranean." He encouraged the family to register the grove as a heritage site, preserving it not only as farmland, but as cultural treasure. Leone spoke of ecotourism, storytelling, and creating experiences for visitors who wanted to touch the roots of history. Nikos was intrigued. Maria was inspired. Even Yiannis, though cautious, saw that perhaps the trees themselves were calling for a new kind of stewardship, one that honored tradition while embracing change. Olive oil and identity. That summer, the Stephanos family launched a project called Stewards of the Grove. They invited small groups of travelers to participate in the harvest. learn the old ways of curing olives and dine under the trees. Eleni prepared feasts of roasted lamb, olives, bread, and honey. Maria painted scenes for visitors to take home. Nikos gave lessons on the chemistry of olive oil and its health benefits. What touched people most was Ioannis's storytelling. He spoke of the Trojan war heroes who carried olive branches as symbols of peace, of the Byzantine monks who pressed oil for holy lamps, of his own grandfather who survived famine thanks to the grove. Soon word spread. The olive grove became not just a farm, but a living museum of resilience and identity. The cycle of seasons. The following year was harsh. A late frost damaged the blossoms, and the harvest was meager. For a moment, despair fell upon the family. But Ioannis reminded them of an old truth. The olive does not give equally every year. Some years it rests, as must we. That is its wisdom. The family persevered, and when the next harvest came, the trees yielded abundantly, as though rewarding their patience. The cycle of scarcity and abundance became a lesson, not only about